Hello, my friends. We have lived in a world of duality for a very, very long, long, long time. And we have literally forgotten that there's only one, and I am in each one of us is that one, same one. So I don't want to try and sound like a spiritual bypasser or something highfalutin spiritual language. But I want to break it down so that it starts making sense to us that how we keep experiencing a reality based on duality. And it's not great. It's like there is you and me, there's them and us, there is other. And because we have lived with this programming that there's about dualism, we have done things to each other that have not been very loving. They have not been very um, based in oneness. Because if we know, and I mean know here, not here, can start here, very good place to start. But when we know, feel, sense, realize that the one we call other is ourselves, is a projection of how we experience duality. And in that, there have been so much atrocity and wars and, I mean, suffering because we thought that it was other and that we needed to protect ourselves from the other. Because looking back in history, we have been hurt and killed and taken from all these horrible, horrible things so that we have taken on a belief, a program, a vision that people out there, the others, are dangerous and they're not going to give me what I need. So I have to protect myself. And that is how we start living behind these barriers, these protective layers. And then in that process, we forget that we are seeing the other through these layers of danger out there. I have to protect myself. And we have forgotten that what is beyond our projection of the programming is us, is me, is you. It is an expression of ourselves, but it has this veil of duality, of illusion that says, they're dangerous, they're going to hurt you, they're not going to love you, they're not going to meet your needs, they're not going to give to you what you deserve, whatever. So we see life through this layer, this veil. And that's why we keep repeating these things that we don't like. Ask me how I know this, right? So, what I see in my work, and certainly also in my own journey over the years, is that it can be very, very hard to really grasp that those who are, let's say, are not meeting our needs, our expectations, they're not giving us what we want. And we all have that, right? So what we do then is we contract more. We put another layer on. We close our heart off even more so we don't feel the pain of not receiving that. And we really believe that we don't deserve it or that it's not okay to want that. So here we're building all these layers upon layers upon layers. And what do these layers do? Well, they reflect back to us, they mirror back to us what we have taken on as real, as a belief. So it's not going to change that way. These people out there are not going to change because they are a projection of our own illusions, misunderstandings, past trauma, the whole gamut. But they're not really there, only as a program that's projected out that looks very, very real. So hang in there with me, because what we so as a self-love mentor, I really help people come back into their heart, into their softness towards themselves. And this is not easy for any of us because there's all these layers. So we may meet some of them, but we still hang out here. And then we're trying to figure out, am I doing that to them? Is that what the mirror that's happening here? Or what am I doing to myself? Am I being that harsh to myself? And you go like, no, I'm not. I'm really learning to love myself, and I'm being more gentle. But I keep attracting these people or situations. So here is what I think is missing for many of us. And for some reason, it's really, really hard to embrace that, because this is where the real deep healing, transforming work happens. And it's right in here at that edge, as that protective layer that has been keeping love at bay because, well, they don't really know how to love me anyway, which is a big one, right? So I have to compensate and, take the crumbs. And then we live that life protected because we're not fully open. We're not fully receiving ourselves out there. We have closed off to protect ourselves. So here's where the really beautiful work happens. But we have to repeat it. It's new. If you're up for this, you and I are bringing in a new frequency, not one from up above or wherever. Maybe that too, who knows? But from within, by letting loose this longing, this thing that we want so deeply, and that we have been compromising. We have not received it. We have not been able to fully own that this is really important for me. Now, of course, you can go out and you can tell people, this is really important for me. I want to be met like this. This is the kind of response that would help me to soften and stay in my heart. I think that's all very beautiful, and it can be very valid, because we somehow need to educate each other out of this illusion, this overlay that we have been living in. We need to help each other out of it. But the real potent work is when we go and meet that part inside that we have been denying what we really want. And what do I mean by that? It's like going in there, feel what it is you really long for. And here I'm back to longing again, right? I always talk about longing because to me that is still the open door to the divine where we need to allow it to come out. All our needs, our fulfillment, it comes from inside, but it can't get through when we say, oh no, they always do this. They leave me anyway. I've been with these partners, but they can't meet me the way I need to be met. So then, because we don't get that, we close it off. We close ourselves off to what we deeply long for. And in that, it cannot get through. So that's what we keep seeing, maybe lovely people, but they're not meeting you the way you feel you need to be met so that you feel safe, you feel seen, acknowledged. There's something when that is met that we can take a deeper breath. It's like, oh, this is what I want. And it's very, very personal. I think most of us have that in different flavors. It's very, very personal. And I want to invite you to really, really honor what it is that you have cut yourself off from as in what is it that you want deep in your heart. We're not talking up here. It's something you feel in here. And it's not so easy if we keep expecting it to happen on the outside, because all these outside projections, they have the same projections. They're also walking around protected and expecting that it won't happen. And that's why we all walk around in this world we're in with these protective layers. And nobody's satisfied unless you're very blessed and you have, the right circumstances. There are people who have that, and it's so lovely that it is actually possible. But we need to honor that deep, it's almost like an ache. And I think women feel it more than men. And, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm just saying that because that has been my experience interacting with women. But maybe they're just, a little closer connected to that longing so they can actually acknowledge it. So here's what we need to do, my friends. Really find out what is missing. Something you keep hoping to get out there that is not happening, and you just keep closing off here because you're giving up because it's never going to happen. No, forget everything out there. You don't need to do anything out there for now. Now go in here and feel, what is it that I really want from this person, these people, this business, my parents, whatever it is. And we know they can't give it to you, right? They're not there. They're also protected. But now we're here, and now you can give to yourself what you've been wanting out there. And let me just explain that. What this part wants, it wants to be acknowledged by you that this is important to you. And this has nothing to do with anybody else. This is your own inner arising of a deep longing, of a deep felt sense in your chest where you go, I just really want to, and fill in the blank what it is for you. And then that part is actually being heard just by you, just by acknowledging that this is really important to you. And when you do that with a sense of, really love towards yourself, it's like, yeah, I really want this. It could be, I really want to be met by others in a way so that I feel seen in my essence, in my expression, so that this part can finally go, oh, it's like we need a mirror somehow. But we need to be that mirror to ourselves first by just acknowledging, yeah, I really want to be. And this is not about the other people. This is really important. It's like I want them. No, no, no. I want that. You will notice many times that something will soften because you turn around instead of believing I can't have it. It's like you go like, oh, even though I've never received it, I really, really want it. I can feel it in the core of my being. Every cell in me has been wanting, has been longing to be met, to be really met in my core, not on the superficial stuff. That's all fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not going to satisfy this place here. It's like I just want to feel met in my presence so that when people meet me, there's a gentleness. There is not a, cutting me off or telling me what I should do or, patting my shoulder. Nah, not it. So keep staying with yourself so you can begin to feel that and acknowledge how important this is for you. That's it. And it is so sweet. I still do it. I can get pulled away and old patterns might come in again. And then when I see it and just go to that tender, tender place inside, it's like, yeah, I really, really want that. Even if it's nowhere to be seen in my life, it doesn't matter. Here, I'm meeting myself in that. And the more we do that, the more this protective layer starts softening, and you'll feel it because when you do this in the beautiful, loving way, you'll notice something starts softening and dissolving and relaxing. So then you know you're there. And now, maybe, just maybe, this longing can come to you from the outside, which is still you, right? Now you are acknowledging how important that is to yourself. So now you can actually start, let's say, project out that this comes to you from the outside, just as a mirror and a reflection of what is happening in here. Yeah. I do know that this is hard to understand in the beginning, especially if it's done all mentally. I always suggest to do this kind of deep work with somebody until you start grounding in it yourself and you have a feeling and a felt sense of what it actually is. So you're not trying to do it with your mind because you can't. This is love meeting love in here. You as love meeting love here. So it can start softening the protective layers. And then when these protective layers are gone, you will start seeing yourself more clearly as this loving being coming to you, maybe in different forms, different people. But it's only because you have opened up your love to come back to yourself. I really invite you to reach out if you need some support in that, if you want to work with me one-on-one. And, I always sound like, trying to sell myself. That's not why. It's just because I see it over and over and over again that people just don't know how to do this. And I think it's probably the most profound work we can do, because we start melting away these barriers that have prevented the divine love to fulfill itself on all levels as you and I. And we can do that, but it certainly takes a deep willingness and an even deeper longing to live in that love flow. So please reach out if this is something that resonates with you and you need support in that. You can sign up for a self-discovery session in the description below. And of course, please share how this resonates with you or not. Have you tried it? Is it challenging? I'd love to hear it. And always please like, share, subscribe, and let's stay in communication that way. Have a great day, guys.